Welcome back to Sports Seriously. Baseball recently made a monumental move to take the All-Star game out of Georgia to Colorado after voting legislation was passed that civil rights groups deemed oppressive to minority groups. Golf's biggest event, the Masters, is still taking place in Augusta, and in the world of sports, the conversation bleeds into one another. We are now joined by our Christine Brennan, who is a legend in this field. She is in Augusta. So, Christine, you were at the Masters press conference with Chairman Fred Ridley. Given everything that's happened with baseball this past week, and now this huge event taking place in Augusta, you've asked about golf's role in the conversation. How did that play out?
Mackenzie, it was probably what we expected, which is that Augusta National's chairman, Fred Ridley, who I know and certainly have dealt with over the years, I just didn't really want to go there. So I tried, and I asked, are they for or against the law? And the Augusta National, the club itself. And he said his personal opinion, it doesn't matter. The fundamental right to vote is essential, and anything that disadvantages anyone is wrong. He also, talked about the integrity of elections, which was kind of strange because I don't know that there's any question about the integrity of the recent election. But it basically was a non-answer, and that is not a surprise to me. Because that's really the essence of golf, wanting to avoid social issues. And Fred Ridley, I would say this brand, of course, Augusta National, is one of the great names in all of sports and one of the most important brands in Georgia. This law that civil rights groups say suppresses Black vote in Georgia and was based on a lie because there was no trouble with the Georgia elections. Given that opportunity, Fred Ridley, let's just say it, Fred Ridley swung and missed.
Christine, we saw what the MLB did last week with their decision to move the All-Star game from Georgia to Colorado. So what is sports' role in this current political conversation?
Annalise, golf and all sports can take us to important national conversations. We've seen it over and over again over the last 20, 30 years. My goodness, going back to Billie Jean King and Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson even. So, people say, get politics out of sports. Oh, forget it. That ship has sailed. That's not happening. We are here, and these conversations transcend sports, and it's our culture, frankly. Sports is such a huge part of our culture. So, as we know, back in the early 90s, the National Football League dealt with the fact that Arizona did not vote for Martin Luther King Day by taking the Super Bowl away from Arizona. And the next year, Arizona recognized Martin Luther King Day. So sports had a dramatic impact and a quick impact. In that case, in Arizona, we saw it in North Carolina with the NBA All-Star Game, the quote-unquote bathroom bill, and in North Carolina, the NBA pulled the All-Star Game a few years ago out of Charlotte, and then the law was changed, and there were accommodations made, and then the NBA came back in, and of course, the NFL has done the same with Arizona, and now Arizona's up again. Now we'll see if, in fact, there's going to be pressure put, as I assume there will be, if Arizona decides to enact tougher voter suppression laws. I would imagine the NFL would have to deal with that, at least look at it, if not act, and move a Super Bowl out of Arizona. So this conversation is here to stay, and whether inside the gates of Augusta National, where I'm speaking to you now, if that isn't what people want to talk about here, well, it's everywhere.
Now, what are the golfers in Augusta saying about all of this?
Over the years, I've been very used to blank stares and no comments from most golfers, male golfers, and even most female golfers on subjects of culture and race and just national interest. That has not happened here this week. Phil Mickelson talked about how important the laws in California are, his home state, in terms of civil rights and human rights, and that he's proud of that. Rory McIlroy, who lives in Florida, even though he's from Northern Ireland, gave an impassioned defense of voting, and that voting should be easier, not harder. We have seen Cameron Champ talk extensively about his work in this space and the need to have voting rights. And so we've seen other golfers talk about this. And that really has surprised me because I didn't expect that. And I think it shows that golf is entering the 20th century before too much 21st century goes by.
I'm glad you mentioned, Christine, the repercussions of what we could see. Obviously, something on the horizon, the NFL. I always want to do, flip side of the coin. Are there any negative repercussions that we could see from sports getting involved in this if the NFL should try to do this eventually in a few years?
Because there are sports fans watching us right now who are sick of this conversation, right? They want us to stick to sports. So I know it makes some people angry. I get that. Some people would rather not have these conversations, but it's been here for as long as I can think of in terms of sports. An American, and you're a sports fan, well, you're also a human being. You also potentially vote. You also have opinions, and that's what we're doing here. And so I'll never ever stop doing it. And I think the conversations are valid and important. And I think many, many millions of Americans care very much about these kinds of conversations.
Well, thank you so much, Christine, for your insight. We appreciate you. Good luck with the rest of the event. Up next, I catch up with the one and only Megan Rapinoe. Stick around for our conversation. Hey sports fans, if you want to see more videos like this, check out some of our other ones right here. And if you like what you see, make sure to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more from USA Today Sports.